guys, and welcome back to World of Tanks. And yes, that is a TOG in my garage. I finally got one. I've been promising myself one since I started playing the game. And the other day I finally decided to bite the bullet and get myself one, and I was not disappointed. So we're going to have a little quick look at it in the garage, and then I've got a quick replay of my first match in it for you. Now, yeah, there it is in all its TOG-ish glory. So let's have a look at some of the stats. Right, not brilliant armour, but not the worst armour. 76mm front and sides, 51mm on the rear, and your turret has got 114 on the front, 76 on the sides, and 53 on the rear. Now your fire rate is 12 rounds a minute, and it has the same ordnance quick fire 17 pounder as you get on the Black Prince. And the main thing about the TOG is its massive hit point health pool. It is huge. 1400 hit points, and if we go and compare that to something else at around tier 6, let's have a look at the Churchill 7. Yeah, 860 on the Churchill 7. So I mean, even though the TOG has got completely flat armour, and I mean the front has got a slight angle to it, but it's, you know, it's neither here nor there. It's got that massive hit point pool, so you can just soak up all the damage. And now I've not been in it very long. I stuck a tank gun rammer on it straight away just to improve that rate of fire, and I'm learning repairs on my first skill because, well, I got fed up having my tracks knocked out, and obviously, as with most heavies, repairs is a very useful skill to have. Excuse me. It only does 14 kilometers an hour. It's not the fastest machine, and a general rule of thumb with TOG is you just keep it rolling, keep it firing until you get to where you want to be, because if you don't and you stop every time you see an enemy, you'll never actually get there. So we'll have a quick look at the first replay. Like I said, it's just a quick video today. We'll have a look at the first replay that I did in the match. It's not the first match that the TOG went in. My wife actually had to go on the first match and got the daily double, but it's my first match in it. But before we do have a look at the TOG replay, I'm just going to have a quick talk about the new update that they've done to World of Tanks today. Now, I'm a little bit pissed off about it, to be honest. One of the things they've done is they've nerfed Bert, which I am not entirely happy about. I mean, yeah, Bert's, you know, it's a good machine, but it's got low damage for a tier 6 artillery. It's got very short range for a tier 6 artillery. And obviously it's got no armour, but then again most artillery doesn't have any armour. Now, I mean, it needed its good traverse and its fast aiming and its fast reload to make up for the massive disadvantages of range, because you have to get close with this tank. You know, with this artillery, you can't sit back near your base and hit anywhere on the map. I think you've got about a 400 metre range, roughly, from what I can figure out. It's about 4 squares, and it's, from what I can figure out, the square is about 100 metres on your map. Now, they've nerfed its turning rate. They've increased the dispersion after shot and also after moving on your aiming circle, and I think they've also increased your reload time. Now, I've had one quick match in Bert, which has just finished off my crew training actually, so I can stick a skill on it. And I was worried that they'd have nerfed it to uselessness, but so far they haven't. It still seems alright. You can really tell with the dispersion after firing, but by the time you've reloaded, your circle's back down small anyway. The one I did notice more on is when you move. When you move your turret, the dispersion rate is really quite large now. Whereas before it wasn't, and it, like I say, it needed that advantage because of the range, because of the low damage output. One of the other things they've nerfed is all the guns on the Bulldog, which I am really not happy about. I've not got my Bulldog yet. I'm going through the T37 at the minute slowly to get it. I do hate the T37 though. There's probably a lot of you out there that love the T37 and will probably tell me so in the comments. I hate the damn thing. I absolutely loved the Chaffee before it, and from what I've seen of the Bulldog, I think I'm going to enjoy that because it seems to be more like the Chaffee. I just think this thing, it's too slow and it's too big to be a decent scout, and it's such an easy target to hit, and I just hate it. I hate it, and you know, See what you think. Let me know what you think in the comments below, but I really don't like that. And something else they've nerfed, which I'm not overly happy about, is, where is it? The KV2. I can't remember exactly what they've done to it. I know they've increased the terrain resistance, which is stupidly ridiculous, because let's face it, the KV2 is not a fast bloody tank as it is. So why increase the terrain resistance on it? And they've also decreased the traverse speed from 20 seconds down to 18 seconds. Now I know it's only 2 degrees a second, but that makes a hell of a difference, especially in a tank that's as slow as this and turns as slow as this and has such a slow turret traverse as well. Now I don't know why they've done this, whether it's because what I normally hear is that medium tank drivers, and I'm not, you know, I drive medium tanks a lot, and I'm not, you know, going against anything against medium tank drivers, but one of the things I hear a lot of, and that I've seen a lot of in the forums, is that it's always medium tank drivers moaning and complaining about things being overpowered, right? Maybe some things are slightly overpowered, but the KV2 has got something like a 25-second reload on it, so I can fire at you once, and if I miss, which is likely because it's not the most accurate machine in the world, then you can just get round behind me and pummel me. So why nerf the KV2? And have you ever thought that it's not that certain tanks are overpowered, but they're just that you've been outplayed? You know, you're not invincible, you're not the best player in the world, everybody has bad days, everybody has good days. Maybe if a tank keeps killing you, it's because they're outplaying you. Maybe it's because you're underestimating that tank, not because it's overpowered. So there are patch notes up. You can get to them on I think it's console.worldoftanks.com, and you can find the patch notes on there. Or if you've got the World of Tanks console assistant on your phone or your iPad, if you go into the news section, you can actually go into it and it'll give you more detailed patch notes to actually what they've altered. A couple of other things that they've gone through. Where are we? They have replaced the Awful Panther, or the Awful Panther as everybody knew it as, with the Spare Panzer IC, which has got a lot less armour than the Awful Panther has. But I don't know what, you know, I've not been through that line yet, so I don't know if anybody else has, but let me know what you think to that one, or whether it's a worthy replacement or whether it's just a screw up. They've improved some of the other things. Some of the things that have improved is invisibility after shot on a lot of the British tank destroyers, namely the AT line. So after you've fired a shot, you will sort of disappear off radar quicker as long as you're not moving and you're out of, obviously, detection range. Now, something else they've shuffled about is the low-tier tank destroyers from the American line. The T-18 and the T-82 are now known as the T-18 HMC and the T-82 HMC, and have now gone up to artillery, which is going to irritate a lot of people, because, you know, there were a lot of people that were high tier players that had the T-18s just to trundle around in the low tier games and have some fun, when the stress of playing in high tier games, especially when you're getting inept teammates, gets a bit too much for you. So I don't know how that's going to fare, and they've replaced them with the T3 HMC and the T56 GMC respectively. Now, I think in one of the later videos that I might do next week, I might possibly pick some of these up and have a look at them and see how they fare. You know, I did do a few rounds in the T-18 and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a good tank destroyer. You know, a lot of people say it's invincible, but it's not. There was a huge area around the gun mantle that was easily penetrated. And also the T-57, I think it was, Tier 2 artillery, has been replaced with the T-1 HMC. So we'll see how that fares as well. Now, enough moaning about the updates. Some of the other things they've done as well is they've altered some of the maps. I think there's 6 of them namely. They've added in cover on some of the open fields on highway. They've reduced the valley depth on Sacred Valley, and they've also altered the northwest corner, because apparently they were saying that gave advantages to people in the north base. They've reduced the hill inclines on Westfield and made the paths easier to traverse. There are new playable areas on Karelia, and on Prokhorovka, slight balance changes, whatever that means. I don't know if it'll be apparent or if it'll just be something that nobody actually notices or pays any attention to. And what the hell is that? on the back of my Carnarvon turret. That's new. That's horrible. I've only just noticed that, and I knew they'd made some changes to the turrets of the Carnarvon and the Centurion. In fact, the whole turret looks quite different from the front. Yeah, they've increased the armour on the Carnarvon turret front, which also applies to the Centurion, possibly, and the Conqueror as well. I'm not going to complain about that. It did need some better armour. From the videos I've been watching of the Mighty Jingles on the PC, he did mention about the Centurion turret and respectively the Carnarvon turret is basically the same, being really bouncy from the front. I haven't noticed that. No matter whether it was hull down or whatever, I was just getting penetrated through the turret way too easily. So that is, you know, I'm happy with that, because the Carnarvon, Christ, what a depressing tank to grind through. I thought the Black Prince was bad. I mean, at least it's got a better, you know, a better gun, but yeah, it was quite depressing actually to grind through that, which is why I've sort of halted at the minute on it. Well, like I say, enough about that. Let's get on to the replay. It's not a brilliant match, but I had so much fun, and I was smiling from ear to ear while I was playing this first match in the TOG. So, enough of me talking. Let's get on to that replay. And here we are. We're on Fjords. We're in a tier 6 matchup, which is usually the type of matchup you get into. It does have preferential matchmaking, so you'll never see anything higher than a tier 7. Now, something I did forget to mention about the gun, it is the one off the Black Prince, 12 rounds a minute, 171 penetration, 150 alpha damage, which is pretty good actually. Well, you know, it's a bit of a pain in the arse at tier 7, but at tier 6, yeah, it does the job quite well, thank you very much. Right, so trundling along as you do in a TOG. I do believe somebody actually starts giving me a push. There seems to be quite a bit of camaraderie around with TOGs. I know whenever I see one on our team, I like to try and back them up, and when I see one on the enemy team, I like to try and blow them up. So it works both ways. So we're going to move down here. Yeah, there we go, getting a friendly push. Full steam ahead, chaps. That's right, off we go. Right, so we're going to head down here. We're going to go to where the first choke point normally is, which is this little pass here. A lot of the time people go either down to that southern corner there. A lot of the heavy tanks go down there to duke it out. Oh, we have a box tank on our team. Awesome. Let's hope we can use it and not just get blown up straight away. So we'll go steaming straight through here. Try and angle the tank as much as I can when I get here, and pretty much sit here and just take a lot of hits and do a lot of damage. I had people hiding behind me. It was a fun game all around. Like I say, I was just smiling from ear to ear while I was playing this. People don't tend to think of side scraping and things like that in the TOG, but it does work. And pretty much you're going to have to, because your armour is just like a huge wall. Big and flat and easy to hit. You can see there the penetration doesn't need any help at all. I do carry a few APCR rounds for those instances when you do get into a tier 7 match and there's something that you need to shoot at. You can only shoot to the front because like, you can't outflank in a TOG. You're always going to be shooting at the front of stuff. Churchill down there taking a beating. I mean, everyone knows how tough the front of Churchills are, and it gets through that no problem. Well, I would hope it does. It's tier 6 and the Churchill's tier 5. T14, another premium tank there, American one. 51mm of armour all round. And from what I've seen, it gets a bit of a bad rap actually, but I've seen a few in matches against them, and I've been with them, and they seem to perform quite well. And what a lot of people seem to forget is it's not the tank, it's the driver. You could have the best tank in the game, but if you're a shit tanker, it's going to look like a shit tank. There's a Churchill 7 hiding just around the corner. I get a few hits on him. Now you can see, I mean, I've taken a lot of hits. Some are bouncing, some are penetrating, but I've still got life left. Although I have lost most of it. I think my gunner's dead now. Still managing to hit stuff though. It is accurate, although it has lowered my aiming time. Well, sorry, increased my aiming time, should I say. Not many kills, but I've done a decent amount of damage. But there you go. Whenever you know, most of the TOGs I've seen, they don't angle them. And if I hadn't have angled that, I'd have been dead by now. So, keep that TOGgy rolling. Look at that, I'm being overtaken by an AT. Is that an AT7? Is it an AT8? It don't matter, it's an AT and I've been overtaken by it. I think that's the first time that's ever happened to me in this game. There's not many of the enemy team left. A couple of tank destroyers, a heavy and a medium, is that? I'm just trying to decide now where to go. Do I just go for base and cap out, or shall I try and go up here? So, let's try and go up here. See if we can do any more damage before I get wiped out or the match ends. Fix my tracks, try and get that extra little bit of speed, not that it'll make a damn bit of difference. Yeah, KV-85, Jagdpanzer 4. And a couple of other tank destroyers left. Come on, chaps! More fuel in those fires! Get those engines steaming! Yeah, you do find yourself rocking backwards and forwards a bit while you're sat in the TOG, trying to get it move faster. Everybody knows it makes no difference whatsoever, but it just makes you feel better. Now, something I do want to try out with the TOG. Let's try and kill it KV-85 first, though. And see, that was a nice bit of damage. Oh, and there we go, capped out. Something I do want to try in the TOG, though, like I was saying, while the results screens are up, is reverse side scraping, where instead of driving up to an object, you reverse up to it. And it's like side scraping, but in reverse. You reverse up to it and then you drive forwards so that you can shoot. But with your turret being on the front of most of the machines, your turret is, you're able to shoot at stuff earlier than you would do normally. If you're reversing out. And then we're back in the garage now. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed that video as much as I enjoyed playing in the TOG. I hope to bring you more TOG replays soon. And don't forget, if you like what you've seen, don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll be back soon with another video, hopefully. I am working on the KV-1S. There we go, there's the results screen up again, because I did go through it a little bit quickly. Working on a KV-1S sort of guide, so hopefully I'll see you again soon. Take care on the battlefield, and goodbye. Tonight, north 57 degrees. Tonight, north covered with a low.